Hi, Noni's back and she's going to read you another story. But before she does, she wants to say hi to Luciana, Mina, and Cole. If you're joining us tonight, hi Cole. All right, here we go. This book is called David Goes to School. Righty. David goes to school, and on the very first day, the teacher says, "You're tardy." That means he was late. Tell me if you can find the purple jacket. Yes, the purple jacket. Excellent. And here we have David in front of the chalkboard. You see the chalk is in his hand, and he's being silly and making funny faces and sticking his tongue out and showing all his teeth. But the teacher doesn't like that because you're not supposed to do that in school. So the teacher says, "Sit down, David." Uh-oh. And so David gets into his chair and immediately starts chewing on gum. And he pulls it out of his mouth, and you can see the pink gum going right across the room. And what does the teacher say? "Don't chew gum in class, David." It's a good idea because you really can't talk with gum in your mouth. Now David is sitting down in the classroom, and he's sitting next to a little girl. And can you tell me where the leaves are in the classroom? Great, yes, a green, a red, a brown, and an orange leaf. Now, when you're in school and you have something to say, you're supposed to raise your hand high for the teacher to recognize it's you, and then she'll say to you, "Okay, you can talk." That's the way we keep it so that not everybody's talking at once, because if everybody's talking at once, nobody's really being heard. So in school, make sure you raise your hand. And that's exactly what the teacher says to him. "David, raise your hand." See, like the girl in the seat next to him is raising her hand. And now we have David. He is deciding that he thinks it's a great joke to put paint on the little girl sitting next to him. And you see, if you can tell me, we'll get really close, can you find the blue paint jar? Yes. Can you find the green one? Yes. Can you find the red paint? Yes. And can you find the yellow paint? Yes. However, what David's doing with the red paint on this hand and the green paint on this end, and he's trying to put it on the little girl next to him, and that's never okay. So the teacher has to say something to David again. "David, keep your hands to yourself. Not put paint on the girl next to you." And here we see the back of David's head. Tell me why you see the back of his head. Well, it must mean he's looking at something. Do you think he might be looking through a window? Tell me if you see a dinosaur in the clouds out the window. Who can see the dinosaur? Luciana, can you see the dinosaur? Yes, there's the dinosaur. But when you're in school, you're not supposed to be looking at what goes on outside. You're supposed to be listening to your teacher and learning. So what does the teacher again have to say to David? "David, pay attention." Of course. Now it's time for lunch at school, and all the kids line up for lunch. and they all have their trays of food. But they're supposed to stay right beside each other and take their turn, one at a time, because the person that's handing out the food can only put it on one tray at a time. But here along comes David, and can you tell by the look on the faces of these students that something might be wrong? Yeah, David's not waiting to take his turn. So again, teacher has to remind him, David, wait your turn. She wants him to get in line like all the other children so that one by one the food can be put on their plates for their lunch. So remember that. When you're in line, you wait your turn. Now, things didn't work out very good that day in the cafeteria. And I would think that by looking at the pictures here, that there was a food fight. Not a good idea. But before we talk about the food fight, let's see if we can find some special things. Tell me if you can find the orange. Yes, the orange is right there. Here's a tough one. Can you find the green beans? Well, there's a green bean, and there's a green bean, and there's a green bean. How about the peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Everybody loves peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Yes, right there is the sandwich, and it looks like there's a bite taken out of it. And I bet if you have a sandwich, you must need some milk. And you might even want a banana. But anyway, let's get talking about what's going on here again. The food is not on the tray. Somebody maybe didn't wait their turn, and somebody got upset. So they started throwing food at each other, which is never, ever a good thing to do. And they're yelling at each other. I don't care who started it. But you know what? It's true. It doesn't really matter who started it, because it shouldn't have begun in the first place. Never, ever throw your food at somebody. That is really bad manners. So when you go to school, you always have outside playtime. And when you're in school, that outside playtime is called recess. But here again, David's not really good about following the rules. And David, as you can see, is the only kid left in the schoolyard. And all the other kids are back in school because recess is over, David. It's time to put your red ball away and come back into school. That David, I'll tell you, he's got to get it better at paying attention and following the rules. Now they're in there and they're reading, and probably in the library. And you can see the kids with their books in front of them. But you can also see that this little girl looks like she's very angry at David. Can you tell me why she might be angry at David? I'll tell you, I'll give you another hint. She's turning to David and going, shh. So why do you think she said, shh? You're right. David's making all kinds of noise in a room called the library that you're supposed to be quiet and read your books. So remember, when you go to the library, you only whisper. You never, ever make a lot of noise. And then David now is sitting at his desk, and we have a situation. We also, if you look real close, every one of the David books has the little white dog. Remember the little white dog, Lou, that watched David as he ran down the street outside with no clothes on? And the little white dog shows up in all of David's books, and there she is again. But David's not really doing the right thing here. It would be like if you took a crayon and wrote on Mummy's table, and that's just never a good thing either. You really shouldn't write on your desk. Noni doesn't write on her desk. You write on paper. That you write in coloring books. and sketch pads, but you never write on your desk. So it was very upsetting to the teacher, and she said, "That's it, mister. You're staying after school." And you can tell by the look on his face that he's kind of surprised she said that. But he had to stay after school because he had to learn that all the desks, not just his, needed to be washed to remind him to never write on the desk again. And as you can see, all the desks are shiny clean. He has a bucket and a sponge, and the teacher asked him, "David, have you finished?" And it looks like he's finished. Look at, they're all shiny clean. They don't look like the other desk that was all written on and dirtied up. They're all clean now. And so the teacher was very happy with him because he'd done what he was told to do. Probably for the first time that day, she gave him a gold star. She gave him a little pat on the head and said, "Good job, David," because he did the right thing. And yes, David, you can go home now. And out the door he went, back to his neighborhood. School was over for the day, and it was time to be with Mommy and Daddy. So that's it. David goes to school. Okay, bye-bye. Noni loves you. Mwah.